Hello, listeners. This is Kat. Welcome back to Put Your Hands Up Podfic. This will be the continuation of Watch Your Heroes Fall. This will be Part 8, Chapters 9 and 10. Chapter 9. Phase 2. 1 for the money, 2 for the show. If there's one thing I know, it's bad acting. It was great. I just needed faster and more damaged. It's not that hard. Daphne Kluger. Anne Hathaway, Ocean's 8. Chapter 10. Phase 2, Scene 1. Make your debut. I want pink. Toga, you can't do pink, Shigaraki grumbles. That's not exactly a terrifying color. Izuku interrupts. Shigaraki, you're missing the point. We don't need Toga's outfit to look terrifying. She can do that on her own. Toga grins widely at the compliment. We just need her to not be wearing the same middle school uniform. That doesn't fit her anymore. We need to look collected, composed, like we know what we're doing. Less like a collection of homeless teenagers and more like an evil organization. If we were allowed to kill people, it wouldn't matter what we were wearing, Jean mutters. Are you sure I should be eating all these carbs? Momo says, frowning at the bowl of beef fried rice Kurogiri made her. This is probably something like the 4th meal she's eaten today, and it's not even noon. Kurogiri's cooking is fantastic, but she's worried about her figure. Her mother and most of the other girls Momo's known, and even Miss Uwabame, recommended she keep her figure slim as a hero if she wants to get anywhere in the popularity polls. Momo, for the last time, your quirk uses fats to make things, Hitoshi says, echoing Izuku's words from many points earlier in the day, and rubbing his hands tiredly over his eyes. You need to eat more fats in general, but you also will be using a lot of them today because you've been making all of our outfits. Thank you again for this suit, hun, Magne says, admiring her sleek pantsuit. I haven't looked this good off stage since never, I guess. She laughs, and the bitter sweetness comes from the hole-infested thrift store clothes in her room instead of anything in her voice. Comperse's outfit, per his request, is almost exactly the same as the one before. The tan overcoat has been replaced with a neater black peacoat, and the boots fit him better now, but everything else is about the same. The green gemstone bolo tie was a gift from his grandfather, and it has been left alone, except for a little shining up. Momo nods politely, still swallowing. This has been such a wonderful exercise, with fine-tuning my quirk, she says. I've never had to pay so much attention to the details of what I'm making before. The shapes and materials are easy enough. She knows how to make Kevlar and carbon fiber about as easily as she knows how to breathe, but the little details Magne had anxiously requested for her pantsuit, like the gathered waistband to emphasize her figure or the dark, plaid pattern, had taken a focus Momo had never been taught to hone in her heroics classes. All Might's quirk training always involved violence and explosive shows, perfect for Shoto or Bakugo or Izuku, but leaving Momo and the rest of the class a little lost on how to perform the assignment. Momo doesn't want to say it's fun, but I want pink, Toga cries, and Izu-kun says pink is fine. Okay, fine, short stack, Dabi says. But what about this? This is a skirt, right? He scrutinizes her drawing more dramatically than he needs to, teasing her, Momo realizes. Toga groans that this is of course a skirt, and what else would it be? And Dabi says, all right, but there's no way you can fight effectively in a skirt. Compress says, actually, many ancient cultures had warriors wear almost exclusively skirts. Romans, Greeks, many indigenous populations. Skirts allow easier range of motion. But her modesty. If she's doing all those little flips and kicks in a skirt, then people will see her underwear. Mr. Compress, or Seiko, please take one solid look at who is gathered here. That's beside the point, Kurogiri. It's the principle of the thing. Biker shorts sound comfy, Toga says. Can they be red, Momo? Momo grins. Absolutely. She scarfs down the last few bites of beef fried rice. That's horrible manners, but nobody's looking except Toga. Something about that wide grin and those 2 bright eyes is a little disarming. Not like Momo could trust her, necessarily, but like Toga wouldn't even consider judging you for, say, eating 50 grams of fried rice in one very unladylike gulp. Let's get started with your costume, Toga. Toga shows her the costume she had drawn up. The paper is crumpled and a little worn around the folds like Toga had this drawing for years, and as Toga gushes about every detail down to the texture of the fabric and which decals should be embroidered and which should be patches, Momo can practically see Toga, maybe 12 years old, scribbling down the clothes she couldn't afford with a 12-pack of colored pencils that she stole from the grocery store. Momo remembers coloring her first idea for a hero costume at 12 with a 72-pack of colored pencils her mom ordered from an art supply store. "All right, I think I've got an idea of what you're looking for, Toga," Momo says, and she politely excuses herself into the bathroom of the bar because she's going to need to take off either her shirt or her pants to have enough skin to pull out the fabric of a dress with this much tulle. She pulls it all out, trying to keep it as unwrinkled as possible, and then throws her shirt back on and pulls a few cute clips out of her hands and a tiny backpack and some red biker shorts out of her forearm. Her stomach is already grumbling again, but she hangs the dress on a hook on the back of the door and tells Toga to go in and change, and the delighted scream she hears from inside while Toga changes is the most excited anyone has been about her quirk since she was a kid. Toga slams the bathroom door open, then sprints up to Momo to wrap her in a hug and spin her around. "I'm pretty! I'm pretty! You made me pretty!" she's screeching. When Toga stops spinning, Momo says, "You were already pretty. I just gave you some clothes you like." "I'm pretty!" Toga screams again, to Dabi, then to Jean, and then Magne, then Kurogiri, and all around the room until everyone has had it screamed in their face at least once. Then she spins, watches the tulle float around her, and clutches Momo into a hug once again. "Thank you, Momo. You're my favorite." "I thought I was your favorite," Jean says, laughing. Toga thinks hard about this. "You're both my favorite." Momo laughs. She's never been the object of such bare-faced affection. "We could do your hair, too," she offers. "If you want to, I mean." Toga shies away from that. "I don't know," she says. "My hair's pretty ratty." Magne laughs. "If you can get that hair into a shower, little miss, I'd be surprised," she tells Momo. "I haven't seen Toga shower more than once a week in all the time she's been here." "I don't like showers," Toga says. "They make me upset." "Have you tried baths?" Momo asks. "They can be very relaxing and a lot easier sometimes." "We don't have a bathtub," Kumper says. "Dude, even my foster family has a bathtub," Hitoshi balks. "And we're, like, poor." "But your house was probably built with the intention of being a house," Mr. Kumper says. "This bar was never intended to be a living structure." Dabi cackles. Momo hasn't heard him laugh in a way that is not a cackle so far. "We're zoned in the goddamn shopping district. This place was said to be demoed to build a new shopping district before All for One bought it." "They were going to gentrify the place," Jean says, pulling at the hem of his new suit. Momo gave his suit's bow tie a measuring tape that he can pull out easily. His cufflinks have razors to do small bits of defensive damage, and of course, there's all sorts of hidden pockets in his suit, as well as every other outfit she's made today, for hidden weapons. "There's pockets!" Toga screams. Finding them at the waist of her dress, she sticks her hands in them and shows Kurogiri, who nods amicably, while he starts another meal for Momo. "I could fit so many snacks in here," Toga says. "And cute little stuffed animals." Her eyes go wide as she gasps. "Momo, can you make me a stuffed animal to keep my blood vials in? Please, pretty please?" Momo gasps, grins, and says, "Of course. Oh, this is going to be adorable. And you can have them in a little backpack. Ooh, they could be keychains. Oh, goodness. Jiro, what do you think?" She stops. She wilts. Toga asks who Jiro is, and Izuku handles the response for her. Hitoshi sets a hand on her shoulder, and Magne redirects the conversation into asking Izuku why he went with such a formal outfit for his suit. "I get we're all coordinating, but isn't your quirk pretty, explosive?" Shigaraki even peeks over the top of his gaming console to listen for Izuku's response. "I won't be using my quirk," Izuku says simply. "We won't need it, and I would prefer not to use it." "What?" Shigaraki snaps. "You're the one who set this whole thing up. How are we supposed to beat these people if you're not going to be giving it your all? Your quirk is too OP not to use." "I just said we won't need it," Izuku replies, patience clearly wearing a little thin behind his quiet, business-like demeanor. "You said you trust me to run this." "I didn't say shit," Izuku says calmly, just barely not snarling. "You gave me the authority. You are letting me do this. My quirk is the furthest thing from our worries. Our success won't come from fights or violence or bloodshed." "What will they come from, then?" Jean asks, left arm spasming in an anxious tick. Even Momo feels herself leaning in, and she can tell Hitoshi's brow is furrowing next to her. They'd all kind of assumed some fighting would be involved. How do you win a war without violence? Isn't this a war? "Our performance," Izuku says, grinning just a little too wide. Momo wishes Shoto were here. News anchors are stationed with microphones and cameras and lights and protective gear less than 300 feet from the scene. Blue fire rages over buildings, but the only ash in the air is from the flyers. thousands of them, that drift from city rooftops to the grimy asphalt. On top of a bus, vacated of passengers since the first explosion rattled the eardrums of everyone on the street, stands Midoriya Izuku, the star UA student. His unremarkable green hair seems wilder in the harsh blue light of the villain Dabi's flames. He's flanked on either side by UA students Shinsou, Hitoshi, and Yaoyorozu Momo, and in a formation around them is the majority of the League of Villains, as the public knows them. Shigaraki Tomura, Kurogiri, Mr. Compass, Magne, Dabi, Twice, and Himiko Toga. People run screaming from the display, and news anchors know better than to get too close to the action when the League of Villains is involved. They've been known to injure and even kill bystanders on a whim. An amateur journalist working with a small neighborhood reporting team comments to her viewers that this stunt is an unprecedented move for the League. They're not attacking a hero like All Might, or a hero symbol like UA School. This attack seems random, unplanned, uncoordinated. This analysis quickly spreads to other, bigger news stations and the word gets out. UA students defect, join League of Villains, attack civilians at random. The linchpin of the change seems to be Midoriya Izuku, and as he laughs in an unhinged off-kilter way and rants and raves about the injustice of Hero Society, nobody's interested in what he's saying, so much as the fact that he is saying it. He's gone off the deep end, and looking at the scars and old injuries that his suit, a full suit minus the jacket to match his new colleagues' fresh, formal attire, leaves exposed where he's rolled up at the elbows and unbuttoned it at the collar. This breaking point was a long time in the making. A reporter who is supposed to be reading off his teleprompter breaks script to wonder about their new outfits. Everyone is wearing a distinct, recognizable outfit that keeps theme with the whole entourage, unlike before, where appearance didn't seem to matter to the League. The off-script reporter tells the cameraman, and vicariously the whole 326 million viewers who will see this clip live, or after it goes viral online. "Oh my god, Takeda. I think it just peed my pants a little. Holy shit, why are they all smiling? Oh fuck, we're not a commercial?" After a whopping 19 minutes, Pro Hero Kamui Woods arrives at the scene. He had been the first to show up, despite his agency being in another district, because the Hero Commission had scheduled a dinner in celebration of the anniversary of All Might's official debut, and Kamui's sidekick, at home with a severe cold, had been the only one with the news on. Before Kamui Woods is able to secure any of the villains, Warp villain Kurogiri helps the entire League of Villains, including the 3 UA students, escape to an unknown secondary location. EMT and paramedic workers arrive on the scene shortly after Kamui Woods, but were unable to ascertain how many people were injured or killed, since most civilians had long since fled the scene, and the reporters didn't dare get any closer to the blue flame and ash. The pamphlets that litter the ground and begin to circulate online, even as the Hero Commission tries to censor them. Read with just one line of text, in red writing against a black background. Watch your heroes fall. All right, listeners. This concludes Chapter 10 of Watch Your Heroes Fall. Chapter 11 will be up next. Hope you all are still enjoying, and as always, thank you so much for listening.